I think some critics of the play would say, well, why doesn't he just go ask Desdemona, right? Why not talk? Why not use your beautiful language
Yeah, yeah,
to address the issue? But I think a beauty of jealousy does seem to have the quality to make us mute, almost, doesn't it? So I think that's a beautiful touch of Shakespeare, that when we're jealous, because we don't quite know if it's real, right?
hmm
Uh, To go back to your point, what is real, what isn't real. So it's a kind of a beautiful touch of Shakespeare to use jealousy as the negative quality that kind of imprisons him. He can't
yeah.
use language.
And jealousy. To your point, I think jealousy makes us skip over a step. Like so, where if we were just kind of upset, we go and talk to the person and say, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling," and then we ask questions. But once jealousy comes into play, then that communication kind of gets thrown out the window because jealousy forces you to believe, oh, this is what it is. Like you've already made up your mind somewhat when you start to become jealous. At least the way I see it. Especially as it relates to Othello. Like once jealousy was a clear thing, like there is no talking to her because what are we going to talk about? Ask her what if everything I know to be true is true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course it is. There's evidence, and this person, again, this honest person, has told me so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yep. When Iago encounters Desdemona and she's sad, because I believe it's after an altercation with Othello, it seems to be that, again, going back to language, Iago becomes less verbose. He doesn't seem to be as eloquent after speaking with Desdemona during her suffering. Do you think that you know, Shakespeare always paints every character has, and we all are, we're a dual creature.
Mm.
Do you think that some of his goodness is coming out in that instance?
Um, yeah, I would say I don't know about again just picking on the language. I don't know if I would say his goodness, but I would definitely say some of the humanity. Like he's still a person, so there are feelings around it. But I think at the same time, because of his own ambition, greed, jealousy, all of those things, it kind of overpowers whatever piece of humanity he has. Because I think the qualities that make him a real person, I don't know that if we were to list all of the qualities that make him a real person, I don't know that him being a good person would be at the top, anywhere near the top of the list. Um, but yeah, I do think there is, again, I was just picking on the fact that you said goodness, but yeah, I think there is some of that kind of comes out. Uh,
Mhm. That it may not be, in the ascendant, but it's there.
yeah, it's there. It's definitely there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, what could Othello have done? You mentioned he was in control of. What could he have done to avoid his tragedy?
I don't know, because the one thing I always question is why to this extreme? Why kill her? And I know, I feel like this is a silly thought, thinking just talking about Othello this way, but like people cheat every day. Like there's someone doing it right now, right? As we're speaking about their relationship, people cheat every day. So there are ways to deal with it. Obviously, it's going to hurt like hell, um, and you know, you figure out a way to work through it. But why? I always wonder, like, why to this extreme? And I've already said why. It's because of all of the other stuff that comes into play, his ego, and how others are going to take it if he just, says, oh, "Okay, it's all right. We're going to work it out." Um, um, but yeah, so just I believe it's really kind of. figuring out why is he so um, obsessed with the optics and how it appears to others. Um, yeah.
Do you, so, and we've touched upon it. So, language, being able to speak and not speak. When Amelia does come forth, and says, "Okay," he keeps saying, "Don't speak." And of course, at the end, when they ask him, "Why did you do this?" "I will not speak anymore." What is Shakespeare doing there? Do you think? Why is he? What's he doing there?
I think it goes back to what you said in terms of the well, you didn't say, you were talking about the goodness in Yago. I think it's showing that there is humanity there, but I believe that I feel like part of it is so that this is just my opinion. I feel like part of it is so that we don't uh, we while we understand who Iago is, that we don't kind of side with him in any way on um in that moment. Like it's I feel like if he were to the whole silencing thing is so that even though he understands what's right and all of the wrong that he's done, he's not willing to he's not willing to go against his reasoning or his justification. Like he feels justified in everything that he's done. So to say anything at that point would be kind of to admit to guilt. Um, and I actually like that he doesn't really do that. That he doesn't go against because you know, again, not that it's really justified, but you kind of understand why he's been pulling all of these strings along the way. So
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that he doesn't that he silences himself at the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Othello kind of justifies his killing of Desdemona. What you said kind of brought, because he feels because she is, I think to use his words, a whore, or that he's actually saving her from further sin.
Yes, he says that if he doesn't stop her, she'll continue to do it to other men. Yeah, so he's saving her from herself, I guess, in that sense. Um, again, which ego, I guess, not ego, not I guess, ego allows him to justify all of his actions, um, and him trying to uphold this image, like he's he's the strong warrior that does that noble warrior, in fact. Um, Yeah, so he's justifying like he has justification for everything
Mhm.
at that.
Have you noticed that Iago is very similar to Ego?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't notice that till recently, actually. But yeah, so I thought, yeah, if that ego principle was, oh, they were aware of that in Shakespeare's time, and they must have been.
Yeah, I mean, oh, you mean in terms of the way that just that, or ego in general, or are you talking about the correlation between the way Iago and ego, or are you talking about ego as a
Well, both that they must have been aware of the ego principle, and then he's using Iago as ego.
yeah, yeah. That I don't know, but in terms of being aware of ego, definitely. I think that's apparent in several plays, like with Macbeth, for instance. Ego plays a large part. Um, um, what else? There's another one that I was thinking of.
Edmund with King Lear,
Yep. Yep.
a character very similar to Iago, but not quite as evil, but pretty up there.
Yeah. He's definitely up there.
Yeah.
um, Aaron and Titus Andronicus.
Yeah.
There's another one, but yeah, so it plays a big part.
Yeah. What do you think Shakespeare is saying about evil and how we should deal with evil or interact with evil? What should we do with evil?
In Othello, or you mean in Othello, or just throughout his plays?
Well, I guess what he's saying in Othello and Iago kind of being the greatest representation of evil. I guess, yeah, what is he saying? How should we deal with evil? What should our attitude be towards evil?
Um, I would say, just with that, the constantly using, referencing, um, honesty whenever talking about Iago. I think for me, it's one of the things is like being, very honest about and aware that evil does exist, and that a lot of times it's right there in our faces. I think, because like throughout the play they refer to, there's reference. I think Iago even says something about himself being honest, um, and so I think that's one thing. Is like that, being honest about the fact that evil does exist, and it's a lot of times it's right there. In terms of how to deal with it, um, being kind of, just being aware. Yeah, I think being aware of the fact that it exists, so that we're not, kind of blindsided, um, by it.
And succumb to it. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Just being aware of it, and
Mm-hmm.
that can help you deal with it. And I think it goes back to that discernment. You're okay. I can see that. Okay, that exists.
Yeah, because if if once you're aware, then you can start making decisions. If you're completely oblivious to something, then there is no discernment, because what are you trying to figure out? Like, so yeah, I think just being aware of it.
I think that's a good lesson. Well, again, thank you, Shawn.
Thank you.